Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is AshQuest, and it's time to unbox and give an overview of Temple of Elemental Evil, the D&D adventure system cooperative board game from WizKids for 1 to 5 players. You know, these boxes, no two of them can really follow the same convention. We have Elemental Evil as a sort of branding or identifier in the upper left corner, but we didn't get one of those for Waterdeep, and we didn't get one of those for Wrath of Ashardalon or Castle Ravenloft, but that's okay. Uncover the Temple of Elemental Evil. Will you dare to face it? Grab your gear and join the adventure. This time we are playing a heroic adventurer, exploring a dungeon beneath the Sword Coast. This game can be played with a single player or in a cooperative group of 2 to 5 people, and each quest is played in an hour or less. It's so strange to read that and also know that the cooperative system is played just like that, and then see the top corner of the board which directly contradicts this information with its erroneous players 3 to 6 and time 60 to 150 minutes. I don't quite get why that couldn't have been proofed. This was published in 2015 by WizKids, not Wizards of the Coast this time around, and its inserts are indicative of the goods available at the time. I have no idea if this code is still good. I guess if you want to try your luck, you can try to get the Trove of Elemental Evil by redeeming it. Here are the instructions right here. White on the other side. D&D Attack Wing. Prepare for incredible dragon-to-dragon aerial combat. A tactical flight and ground combat miniatures game. Never heard of it. What did you do last night? D&D Encounters. Build your character and play at a store near you. Encounters? D&D Encounters. Sounds like a dating app crossover. I'm trying to do a video, guys. I'm trying to do an unboxing. On the other side of this, you get a character sheet. This is how advertisements need to be done. This is exactly how you do an ad. The other side is a useful component for a game that you are actively playing or could be playing. And now looking at the character sheet, you've got an idea of kind of what the game's about. You can infer some facts about D&D. D&D Encounters, though, still sounds like a dating app. 100% sounds like a swipe right if you want to play. And then like everybody's profiles are like the class that they would play. It's their real life picture and then like their character name and class and all their stats. Play styles. Maybe there's like fun quizzes you take on there where it works you through a scenario and you decide which of the pre-built options you would select to get your character through the scenario, or you describe how you would do it, and then like DMs can swipe right on a party and then you can all get together if there's a two-way match. I'm putting way too much thought into this. We have the adventure book and the rule book. Absolutely stunning art this time around. We have Temple of Elemental Evil specific cards. If you are mixing adventure game systems, treat the water element monster card in this game as a separate monster from the water elemental monster card from the Legend of Drizzt board game. Why did you need this errata? Just don't design the card. Just don't call this water elemental. Like, that's very easy to do. All right, we've already gotten to the part where I'm complaining. I like the D&D adventure system games very much, but at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. Look, this one comes with a figure reference sheet. I wonder if any of the other ones that I got came with it. No, because I got those. I got a few of them brand new. So this is something I didn't get in Waterdeep, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, so it's not a convention they stuck with. These are all the miniatures that come with the game. So now we can skip over the miniature showing part. Now you've already seen them all. Clearly, I have flipped this box upside down. Actually, I think I did that on camera just a minute ago. So these adventure system games are just years apart. They went on for a while, and there are so many elements of each game, despite having different people designing each game, that are just so similar that they remain totally compatible with one another. And there are just so many elements that they kept for such a long time in their different iterations of the games. More healing surge tokens that are the same size. I mean, I guess the philosophy here, the approach to each of the designs for the games across the series was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I have not played this game at all, not once. And I don't remember if I was the one who unboxed it or not, because I can't remember if it was this game or Tomb of Annihilation that I bought at my friendly local game store versus the one I overpaid for and then highly regretted it because of the lackluster contents. One of the games, well, Tomb of Annihilation was definitely the one that I overpaid for, and was very dismayed at the quality of components, and we'll go over that in another video. In this video, we're going to focus on Temple of Elemental Evil, which is based on a classic D&D module. Just like all of these, I like that it takes place in the Sword Coast. We should have a reference to Baldur's Gate, I would think, in the rulebook then. Possibly we will be resting in between adventures, perhaps at a location within Baldur's Gate, such as the Elf Song Tavern. We have our bog standard D&D adventure system tokens, and counters, and cardboard chits, and gold pieces, and wound markers, and different NPCs that are represented by tokens, instead of the vastly preferred approach of miniature, even a proxy miniature. We have condition markers that represent advantage and disadvantages. Back into the box those go. Our treasure cards this time around include healing potions, cloak of protection, pouch of copper, healing embers, ring of elemental command, ring of the ram, the flavor text, that's a heavy pouch, dialogue of the year, claws of the umber hulk. Use instead of an attack action, attack one adjacent monster, attack +4, damage 3. This is actually a really good card. It doesn't say that you have to flip it back over, so that's cool. Wings of Flying. This item remains in play. Your hero does not trigger trap tokens. This is also a very good card to have. Okay, you can totally mix and match your decks of cards with any other game system. It's fine. You've got a nice little icon here in the lower right that tells you from which system it's from, or from which system it comes. This is the Temple of Elemental Evil system, and that's why possibly we have the graphic in the upper left corner. The encounter cards are what you draw whenever you flip over a new tile and add it to the ever-growing modular dungeon that you are building. The event Onslaught of Monsters, particularly dangerous. Each hero places a new monster on any tile. Cursed item, Cultist Fervor. Place a new monster on your hero's tile. That monster activates. Thundering Boomerang, Hidden Cache. They're not all the bad events. Some of these events are good, like your hero gains 200 gold pieces, draw another encounter card. I guess it is a bad thing if you have to draw another one. Invisible Stalker Attack, Hailstorm, Appease Ghosts. Your hero can spend 300 gold pieces or discard one item, treasure card to regain 3 hit points. He or she may do this only once, then discard after playing, draw another encounter card. We have our Sequence of Play cards. This is for 1 to 5 players. And it's DM-less, it's a GM-less experience, so if you are playing by yourself, you can easily control 1 hero, 2 heroes, all 5 heroes, as long as you can keep track of all that, and power to you if you can. We've got our adventure cards specific to this scenario. Amber the Blacksmith, an ally, a hill dwarf. Borevik the Merchant, Calabra the Scholar, Drusilia the Minstrel, Eldon the Innkeeper. These are all characters who will be trying to get to the start tile. No doubt providing you with a special reward if you're able to rescue this character. And an adventure card that gives you an item, Drown the Water Trident. They called it Drown. Use instead of an attack action. This card cannot be sold or discarded due to encounter cards. Attack 1 monster on your hero's tile. Your hero takes 1 damage. But this does add 8 attack to your roll and can inflict 3 damage. If you miss, it's going to inflict 1 damage. It's pretty awesome. We've got our start tiles, including the elemental earth nodes, regular start tile, elemental water node, air node, and fire nodes. Scale is not a thing with these tiles. Our character is going to take up an entire 5 foot by 5 foot space, and this tiny bridge is going to barely support their weight as they walk across. You know, those nodes probably aren't start tiles, but are probably objectives. It doesn't matter. Here is our dungeon tile stack. It seems a little bit shorter than normal this time around, and includes fire altars, water altars, the massacre site, that's horrible, pool of Olhydra, and the typical corners and corridors and edges of rooms that make up the common configuration of a given game that is being played within the D&D Cooperative Adventure System universe. Doubtless, you will be able to take certain special tiles from this stack, like the Earth Altar, and shuffle them into an amount of tiles before placing those under a predetermined stack number of tiles, which will kind of determine the length of the game that you're playing according to the adventure book. And we usually don't flip through the adventure books too much, but this time around I would like to flip through it just a little bit more. So the town tiles are actually on the back of these double-sided tiles. It makes sense since you're never going to use them both in the same game, but you won't just randomly assemble the town of Red Larch. You are actually going to follow the guide that's in the adventure book each and every time. We place the town square tile right in the middle, the opposite side of the elemental earth node to its right, air node to the north, or actually we offset by 1, sorry, water node to the left, and fire node, perhaps predictably, to the south. And this is why the villagers are actually represented as tokens in this game. You're going to randomly draw to determine who's going to be in the village in some scenarios. Anyway, we've got all these lovely people symbols all across the town. The villager squares. Heroes will start in the town square, any tile you so desire. And each player places one new monster on a tile without a monster in this beginning setup for Adventure 3, Rotten in Red Larch. Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the expansion to, well, the D&D adventure system as a whole, introduces its own little town system. But we'll get to that another time. Here's how the adventures work. Each adventure contains the following sections: start the adventure, the objective, the number of heroes, the adventure setup, and the special adventure rules. This is an adventure page. Start the adventure. This is the section of flavor text that introduces the quest to your party of heroes at the table. The objective is here. The objective for Adventure 1, which is called Escape, battle any threats that manifest and escape from the dungeon. The number of heroes section follows 1 to 5, solo experience or group adventure. Suggested heroes: if this is your first time playing this adventure, take Alairos as your player character. Once you become experienced with the game, try this mission again with other heroes. The adventure setup that instructs what to do with the tile stack, how to configure it for this specific adventure. You'll need to do some tile searching to find the massacre site tile, the guard room tile, and the star tile, and you'll place the massacre site tile on the table. Place each hero on any square of the tile. Follow the instructions for which tiles to shuffle where, for what stacks, and then here are your special adventure rules, which are pretty well spoiler-free. Don't read the victory part, or do, because you have to actually know how to win. This isn't the flavor text. The heroes win the adventure when they escape the dungeon. At the end of a player's hero phase, if all heroes are on the star tile, they escape. The rest of these are group adventures, but that doesn't matter because, like I said, you can just play with 2 heroes and call that a group adventure. You might be wondering, because I don't think I've talked about this before, if you play a game with 2 versus 5 adventures as a solo experience, does it get harder, easier? Well, the difficulty scales with the number of heroes because each hero, if they are uncovering an event, have the capability of attracting more monsters onto the board. So more players means higher frequency of monsters spawning. In this way, the difficulty is fairly self-governed. By the way, the back of this box does encourage you to mix the games together if you want to make new experiences. That can be kind of difficult to do because your dungeon tiles don't really have solid identifiers on them, unless you turn them around, in which case, yeah, the theme of the dungeon is kind of consistent per game system, and the symbols are going to be pretty consistent. You'll always be able to tell a Temple of Elemental Evil tile because it's going to have one of the 4 elemental tiles on every single one of the tiles that you draw from the stack. I mean, that's if you're ignoring the names of the special tiles. It's going to be even easy to identify the corridors and such. So all in all, it's going to take some time to separate the components back out, but you can do it. You're not going to be left lost. I say that, but I mean your traps and your gold pieces and stuff and your wound markers that are common to all the games, I don't even think it matters if those are split up or not. It's time to look at the monsters and their cards. First up, we've got fire bats. And here they are, the fire bats. This is going to be one of those sculpts that I complain about. I do appreciate that they are placed on these clear rods to indicate that they are flying, but I mean, that's the best you could do. It looks like hair. It just looks like wigs. They're the sorcerer's wigs flying through the cavernous corridors. Next up is the bugbear. These guys have attack +8. God, they suck. Here they are. This is the 2015 bugbear. This is what they look like these days. Not that it's 25th, it's 10 years later, but still. For no particular reason, let us compare this with a 2008 bugbear from the Parker Dungeons & Dragons fantasy adventure board game. It is not at all related to the D&D adventure system games, not in the slightest. We might as well look at the gnolls next. The gnoll archer. This is the 2015 WizKids Gnoll Archer, and this is the 2008 Gnoll from the D&D Fantasy Adventure board game from Parker. That's enough of that. Yeah, anyway, these are your Gnoll Archers. Next up, we've got the Doppelganger. We went from really cool sculpt to really cool sculpt to was this necessary? There are 3 of these guys. AC's 13. They've got an attack +4. They've only got 1 hit point. They are definitely the scrubs of this game system. They're gonna stupidly chase after the flying wigs because they're bald and they would like to have hair. Okay, we're gonna get to the boring ones as quickly as I can. These are the cultists. There are empowered water cultists, and water cultists. Empowered earth cultists and regular earth cultists. The same for air and the same for fire. Basically, there's empowered versions of cultists and regular versions of cultists. They share the same miniatures. This is our fire cultist and also empowered fire cultist. He's got a spear. Allegedly, the spear is aflame at its tip. We'll place them around the pool of Ol Hydra. Our air cultists / empowered air cultists use crossbows because they think that makes them make more sense. We'll just put them around this altar. They're discussing the quality of their crossbows. Earth cultist / empowered earth cultist. They have clubs. They have clubs. They probably have like a club where they discuss the clubs and the weight and heft and girth and do they swing well. They get to complain about the inner workings of background bureaucracy concerning club-making companies and how they illegally employ troglodytes. That's not an insult, that's a monster that's with this game system that we're going to look at here in a second. Finally, the empowered water cultist. I kind of like the shield design of this one. I kind of like the design overall. It kind of is cool. It's sort of like a fishbone spine kind of sword, which is pretty neat. Shirtless, but like wearing a tunic, so like kind of gives off that swimmer vibe. Keep them from getting empowered, I guess, is the takeaway from all this. They'll be over here hanging out, waiting their turn at getting access to the pool of Ol Hydra. Okay, we've got some little fish people here, some Sahagin, or perhaps some lizard men. It's kind of hard to tell. These are troglodytes, and one of you D&D aficionados can tell me exactly what a troglodyte is. They're kind of gaunt. They are quite fishy looking. I would say that they are very Sahagin inspired, but they might be dumb, but you know, because of the name. Low AC, low HP. You'll go through here slapping them out of your way left and right. The Hobgoblin Fighter is next. Front and rear, pretty basic, nothing too special. Probably could get a Hobgoblin out of the 2008 Barker box, but I've already put it away. This is a very humanoid-focused X-Pack. That is until you get to the elementals, of which there are 4. The earth, the water, that you already know. You know the elements. This is our earth elemental, and I've never actually been a fan of the interpretations that are given to elementals. I realize they're all very arbitrary, but I just don't love humanoid figures, or maybe upper body of humanoid, lower body's a tornado or whatever. I've never been in love with any interpretation from any franchise at all. I'm not sure what it is. Next up is the water elemental, I guess. And I mean, it's vague. It looks like it could be a crashing wave of water that's going to come down and damage your hero with crushing damage, because water does have quite the weight to it, I suppose. Slightly larger air elemental. I like the terrifying face and the swirlies, but again, you know, what is an air elemental really? Why is it always a tornado? And then the fire elemental, and this is probably where I see the most opportunity has been squandered. I see that this is something that had so much potential, but it looks like burnt rock. It looks like volcanic rock that has just been charred to a grill. This looks like charcoal in my grill the day after I've had a barbecue and after it's rained. That's what this looks like. That's how I would paint it. The elementals, of course, have their own boss cards, not just like the little encounter cards, making them double threats. Before we get into the big miniatures, we're going to look at our heroes that come with this fine game. This time around, we've got Nemestra, Sun Elf Wizard. She's the wizard class, so you can definitely use her cards to upgrade her at 1st, 2nd level. I don't think this game system was delving into the 3rd and 4th levels that Waterdeep did. At the time, the concept was just alien to them. They're like, in a classic D&D game, we'll do 20 levels, but in the board games, we'll just do 2. That's it. 2. You get 2 levels. Obviously, you can homebrew this system. You could definitely use the more contemporary game to, in retrograde, apply the leveling up system to levels 3 and 4. And if you're planning on playing all of these together as a giant campaign, I would definitely consider letting your heroes get to above 5 and beyond. They'll definitely steamroll through all the scenarios, but you can definitely balance out the difficulty by giving every single monster with each successive campaign a +1 to their AC. And if you don't like that idea, then a +1 to their damage. You can kind of make that call per game system. You also don't have to allow them to level up past 4 immediately. You can have them level up to 5, but have level 5 give absolutely no upgrades whatsoever. Then level 6 does give an upgrade. But the reason that level 5 is not pointless is because it's a stopgap. You have to get to level 5 first. Then you have to collect all the experience and everything to get to level 6. Then level 7 could be another stopgap level that offers no rewards. Level 8 could offer a reward. You could also allow your characters to multi-class. And so when they get to that level 8, instead of choosing yet another power for their class, they can choose one of the utility powers or daily powers for another class, whichever you deem more powerful, less powerful, more appropriate. The wizard has a host of abilities such as Poison Spray, Shocking Grasp, Burning Hands, True Strike, Fire Bolt, Vampiric Touch, Disintegrate, Bigby's Hand, Dimension Door, and Chill Touch. And there are definitely other wizard characters in the D&D Adventure System games, so definitely upgradable and shareable in terms of power, setup, and loadout. They'll have different graphics on the cards, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because you're not drawing cards randomly. Talon, the human ranger. Here she is. She looks great. This is like, I think, the third ranger that I've encountered in 5 games. So we definitely have ranger options. We have a real range of options. Okay. The ranger has long bow, scimitars, colossus slayer, ensnaring strike, frenetic archery, volley, danger sense, hunter's mark, natural explorer, and goodberry. Welcome to the Goodberry, home of the Goodberry. May I roll your d20? Aleros, the human fighter, another fighter class. I think this is the third fighter class I've come across in the 5 games I've looked at so far. Actually, like his sculpt, it does match the artwork, and it is actually a pretty nice, attractive looking sculpt. Yeah, I think they actually got everything right about this one. Despite these not being a heroic scale and having a little bit less charm, a little bit less distinction on the board, as somebody who's a heroic scale enjoyer, I'm gonna have these biases. I'm sorry, it is what it is. He is still really cool looking. He's got Daring Shout, Distracting Strike, Lunging Attack, Action Surge, Battle Axe, Great Axe, Dagger, Battle Master, Protector, and Sweeping Attack. Keeping in mind that we're not just looking at abilities that are widgets. We have utility powers, we have at-will powers, and we have daily powers. Waterdeep has expert powers added into the mix, which are, of course, obviously, more advanced, more advantageous to have. We've got Faerûn, the Gold Dwarf Cleric, and she is borrowing my heart. Look at that lovely sculpt and artwork. The relaxed pose. It's about time that the sculpts really did match the artwork closely, because in earlier editions of the games, not really editions, earlier games in this series, they were just egregiously mismatched. I mean, terribly so. The artwork and the card versus the sculpt had you thinking that maybe you had the wrong miniatures, and then you'd look at the back of the box and see that they were correct, and you'd go, what? She's got Corona of Light, Warding Flare, Light Cure Wounds, Blessed Mace, Light Crossbow, Warhammer, Divine Strike, Radiance of the Dawn, and Spiritual Weapon. And finally, we've got a rogue. Focus. Just because you're a rogue doesn't mean that you get to stay out of the camera's focus. Oh god, man. Oh wow, he will not stay in focus. Really using some roguish powers there. This rogue's name is Rat Shadow, Lightfoot Halfling Rogue. And Rat Shadow has Ambush, Killing Strike, Deadly Assault, Rapier, Short Bow, Throwing Dagger, Short Sword, Reliable Talent, Sneaky, and Use Magic Device. Next up is one of the bosses, Arkashik Thun Salamander. This is an elemental. For reasons I don't understand, I have 2 of them. I'm fairly certain I'm only supposed to have 1. This one I found in a different game system box, and it didn't belong to that game system at all. I found them in there with cards that were supposed to be with the skirmish version of all of this stuff too. That's why getting used stuff is fun sometimes, you know? Next up, we get Sworgle Murgle, the Etin. Is that because the left one's name is Sworgle and then the right one's name is Murgle? And is it my left or its left? I don't know, but this is an Etin, and an Etin it is indeed. Etins are always huge, always have these 2 heads. They're not usually cyclopses. This one's got very large teeth, perfect for eating people. Just straight up, 1 gulp, maybe 2 bites. Got an imposing figure, looks very menacing, looks very dangerous, looks really annoying to have to fight. The big bad of this expansion is Velathedros, the Black Dragon. There's 2 versions of this monster depending on whether you're encountering him in the wild or he is attacking the village. And This is our big bad. A really cool looking dragon sculpt. I really do like the details on this guy. I like the expression in the face, the open jaws, the mad roar, the difficulty of the camera to focus very simply on the object in front of it. Perhaps I will try locking the focus now. There we go. And the detail in the wings, the dynamic pose, the clear bar that is giving distinction as to his airborne status, the bendy material. These guys are not going to break if you throw them across the room. Unlock the focus now, and I will place him on the board so you can kind of get a sense of what he looks like flying high above the rest of the miniatures here, through the caverns somehow. Not sure how he's accomplishing that. But that, more or less, is Temple of Elemental Evil. Thank you so much, brave heroes, for accompanying me on this journey through the Temple of Elemental Evil, sadly not based anywhere near Baldur's Gate. I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day, and if you got this far, be sure to comment down below, like the video, check out the benefits that you might get from becoming a patron or YouTube member, and bye for now.